Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, in previous lecture I have explained the parts of the Kleen's theorem, and in that lecture I have also proved the Kleen's theorem part 1 and part 3. ما part 1 رم proof كده بودم ثابت كده بودم که امی statement که ما گفتم آیا ای درست است یا درست نیست. The اول statement چی گفتن؟ If a language can be accepted by an FA, then it can be accepted by TG. اگر یک language ما گفته بودم که در FA accepted است و در TG هم چی است؟ accepted است. و در سوم statement چی بود؟ در سوم statement ای بود که اگر یک language the regular expression express میشه و FM چی است؟ accept میگیره. صحیح است؟ و دوم چی بود؟ دوم که است اگر یک لنگویج در TG accept میشه او در regular expression هم چی میشه؟ express میشه. So now in our today's lecture, so we will discuss this thing, we will prove this thing. So I have proved these two in previous lecture, no need to again discuss these. So you should play the previous lecture, and I have explained this in previous lecture, but now in this lecture so I will prove this one, second part of the Kleen's theorem. Let me prove it. Okay, this was part 1 and this is part 2. If a language can be accepted by a TG, then it can be expressed by an regular expression as well. ما چند رول میگم براتون. صحیح است؟ امی رولز به توسط امی رولز یک تی جی اگر باشه امو تی جی ما به رگولر اکسپرشن کنورت میکنیم و ما چک میکنیم که امی لنگویج که است که در تی جی اکسپت شده او به رگولر اکسپرشن هم چی است؟ اکسپرس میشه، مقصد ریپرزنت میشه. ما در حالت رگولر اکسپرشن هم نوشته کده میتونیم. صحیح است؟ اول رول چی است؟ رول 1: if a TG has more than one start states, then introduce a new start state connecting the new state to the old start states by the null transition labeled by null by null transition, and make the old start state the non-start state. So I will explain it. What does it means? Now the second state what we have, sorry, the second rule what we have: if a TG has more than one final state, then introduce a new final state connecting the old final state to the new final state by the transitions labeled by null transition. Okay, so I will also give you an example for the second rule. What is the third rule? If a state has two, means more than one incoming transition edges, then replace all these transition edges with a single transition edge labeled by the sum. Okay, also I will give you example for this. Next rule, fourth rule and the last rule: if three states in a TG are connected in a sequence, then eliminate the middle state and connect the first state with the third by a single transition. So now what is mean by all these four rules? So let me just prove all these four rules. So first rule chimega, first rule mega. For example ما یک TG میگیریم، ما در TG گفته بودم با شما که در TG از یک زیاد initial state یا از یک زیاد final state میشه که می باشه. صحیح است؟ مشکل نیست. For example this is state 1 Q1 یا S1 هم direct 1 نوشته کردیم. صحیح است؟ state 1. For example here I have a transition of A, for example, and here this is state 2. Okay, and here I have also and another final state, sorry, initial state. For example, this is state 3, okay, and it is a transition of A, yeah, B, transition of B, any transition. This is state 4. And when we have state 5, for example, state 5, and we can say that this is the final state, and you know about this. So we are representing this by using what? By using double circle. You can also represent it by using plus, okay. So now we have one final state and two initial state. For example, here we have A, and again we have here B. So here, how many initial state we have? We have two initial state. If you want to convert transition graph to regular expression, so first, if you have more than one initial state, so then you should make it a single initial state. So for example, this is a TG. So the first rule, اول رول که هست چی میگه که اگر از یک زیاد initial state باشه شما یک نو initial state جور کنین. صحیح است. For example 1, I'm giving 1 to this state, so now this become initial state, and this state, for example this and this, before this these two were initial state. Initial state both says them. So for example it will give you 3, and 3 will become 4. State 3 که هست او 4 میشه و state 4 که هست او 5 میشه. به این خاطر که ما یک نو state اضافه کردیم. صحیح اینجا. و 5 state که هست final state که هست او چی میشه؟ او state 6 میشه. Okay, so now it will have also a transition. It will have also transition. So this is label A, input A, and this is input A also, and this is input A also, and this is input B. Sorry, this one is input B. بالام B is the اینجا باید B باشه. Okay, so now just convert this by using a single state, okay, and we will give a label of what? A label of null string. ما label null string momentum. صحیح است. So null string این دو پیشزی دو initial state بود. صحیح است. چرا initial state بود؟ چیزی شما میفهمین ما گفته بودم که اگر یک ای رو آماده باشه با یک state از اینجا، صحیح است، initial state از minus sign هم represent میشه و final state از plus sign یا double circle represent میشه. اول رولی است که اگر از یک زیاد initial state هست امور چی کو؟ امور با یک initial state convert کو و امور new initial state که شما گرفتین. صحیح است. This is new initial state and these are the old initial state. 2 and 4 were the old initial state. So now we will combine these old initial state with new initial state with a transition having labeled null string یا null transition. با استفاده null transition اینا ما چی میگیم؟ یک جا میگیم null transition هیچ نیست، امو پس امو جواب میده. صحیح. So this was the first rule. What is the second rule? So the second rule, for example, if we have one or more than one initial state, yeah, one initial state agar shuma darin, for example 1, this is initial state. For example here I am having 2, state 3, state 4, state 5, this one and this one. This is final state and this is also final state. Okay, so now it has a transition with label is equal to A. This is a transition with label is equal to B. This is a transition with label is equal to A. This is a transition with label is equal to B, yeah, with input is equal to B. So now in this case this is also TG. ETG است. ما گفته بودم در درسای گذشته که TG که است از یک زیاد initial state داره و از یک زیاد final state هم می داشته باشه. در TG خب NFA که است او فقط یک initial state و یک final state می داشته باشه. So now if we have a case just like this, so what should you do? So now the second rule tells us that you should take a new state, okay, just like this. For example, here this is initial state. Yak new state beginning says so 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, same like above TG. These are the state. This has an input A, and input B, and this is input also equal to B. Okay, so now the second rule tells us if we have more than one final state, old final state بود آل ما یک new final state میگیریم که او چی می باشه؟ 7 می باشه. صحیح است؟ state 7. And now I will make this state is a final state. نو ما یک final state باید جور کنیم. و old final state کی بود؟ او رو ما combine میگیریم، وصل میگیریم، transitions میگیریم. خب کدام transition ما میگیریم؟ null transition. So this is null transition and this is the null transition. این دوم رول است. دوم رول چی گفتن؟ که اگر از یک زیاد فاینل استیت باشه، امو یک دو باشه، سه فاینل استیت باشه، امو را به یک فاینل استیت وصل کنین. صحیح است؟ به توسط نل ترانزیشن. صحیح است؟ نو این نیو فاینل استیت میشه و دیگه که است او اولد فاینل استیتس میشه. This was the second rule. I hope you got this. Okay, so if you have any questions, so then you can ask. Okay, so now we have rule number 3 and I will prove that rule. So what is the rule number 3? What we have in rule number 3, let me just dictate it. So in rule number 3, if a state has two or more one incoming transitions edges, then replace all these transition edges with a single transition edge labeled by the sum. What does it mean? It means that, for example, mind the TG میگیرم یک TG است دای TG چی است؟ for example initial state است یک است یا از یک زیاد است. for example ما میگیرم state 1 and this is for example state 2. Okay, so for example it has a path just like this and also transition this. یک state است more than one incoming state داره. Sorry, transition داره. More than one incoming transition. For example, this is A, this is B. One more thing, make this is a final state. Final باشه یا نباشه، خب مقصد ای یک TG ما گرفتیم. For example, A است، B است و ای یک state است، دو incoming state، دو incoming transition داره. یک از ای 1 آمد، دوم از ای 1 آمد. صحیح است؟ So now how will we replace this? So این رول میگه که امیرا یک transition بگیرین. صحیح است؟ So I will take 1 and 2, both are states. One is initial state and the second one is final state. This is initial state, and sorry, this is final state and this is the initial state. Okay, so now the third rule tells us कि अगर by एक state do different या more than one transition آمده باشه سیسته نو ایره باز چی کنین شما امی ترانزیشن به یک ترانزیشن تبدیل کنین و فقط یک پلاس نوشته کنین دایی سیسته A plus B ای X هم نوشته میشه و X هم نوشته میشه 1. This is initial state and this is the second is the final state. So this is the rule number third. You can also write A or B just like this, A comma B. Okay, so this is the third rule. We can write this or you can also write this. Okay, XMM شما نوشته کده میتونین. Okay, so if you have any question related to this, so you can ask. What is the fourth rule? Fourth rule چی میگم؟ Fourth rule very easy, very simple. So the fourth rule tells us if three states in a TG are connected in a sequence, then eliminate the middle state and connect the first state with the third by a single transition. What does it mean? Mega agar ma states دارم صحیح است. For example ما دارم first is initial state. اول ما initial state 1 دارم، باز ما state 2 دارم و باز ما state 3 دارم. رول میگه که اگر 3 state هست صحیح است و چی داره؟ transitions داره. state 1 to state 2, state 2 to state 3. Sorry. State 2 to state 3 we have transition. For example, here we have A and here we have B, for example. If we have just like this, and for example this is the final state. اگر X هم باشه ای میگه که در بین اگر state مقصد مستقیم اگر در یک سیکونس نوشته باشه، اگر در بین یک state است، دو state است، سه state است، 5 است، 6 است، کل state ها را چی کنین؟ eliminate کنین، skip کنین، او را پاک کنین و آخرین state که است او را او اول state او را نوشته کنین. سعی که اینجا ما در بین state که است او را ما از بین میبریم، فقط دو state میمانه. نو یک و دو فقط دو state میمانه و یک transition ما اینجا لیبل میکنیم به چی؟ به A و B. اینجا ما پلاس نوشته نمیگیریم، اینجا ما دایرکت ای بی نوشته میگیریم. مثلا اینجا اگر در بین اینجا دیگه استیت هم اگر باشه، دیگه استیت هم اگر باشه، دیگه استیت هم اگر باشه و باز اخیر به سوم استیت وصل شده باشه، نو باز امی کلش را چی کنین؟ حذف کنین، امی کلش را پاک کنین، فقط اخیرین استیت یا دو استیت را بگیرین. صحیح است و چی کنین؟ امو لیبل که نوشته باشه امو را اینجا direct نوشته کنین without plus. So this was the fourth rule of the second part of the Kleen's theorem. So now I will prove the Kleen's theorem second part by using these rules. Okay, by استفاده امی rules ما second part Kleen's theorem را ما تشریح میگیریم. صحیح است و ما یک مثال گرفتم اونجا، امو مثال را ما کار میکنیم. صحیح است. So these were the four rules of the second rule of Kleen's theorem. Okay, so here let me just show you the example of the Kleen's theorem. Okay, so this is an example of Kleen's theorem second rule. So now this is a TG and I will convert this tg to a regular expression and it will be expressed in regular expression. Now second rule ची میگه که اگر یک language the tg accept میشه او به regular expression هم express میشه. So now this is a tg, so we will express it and regular expression. okay, ایره ما به regular expression تبدیل میگیریم. امی ما چی داریم اینجا؟ لوپ ما داریم، صحیح است. ایرم باز ما تشریح میگیم که هیچ چیزم میشه آسان است. خب so now let me prove this.